Welcome back to the Anachroschism. When we left off last time, the party was still split, half of them in Glen Cogo, half of them at the ranch. Not exactly half, but you get the gist. Some things happened. We're going to kind of deal with the fallout from those on the following day, but everybody had pretty much bedded down for the night, having finished what they were doing in their respective areas. Was there anything the Glen Cogo group wanted to do before bed?
I would like to do some plyometrics in my room.
Yes. Make a plyometrics check.
You guys can work on your thing. I'm going to make that check.
Okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyways, so we will...
You actually rolled.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I rolled and it was a 17, too, so I worked up a sweat. You could hear thumping. You're like, did Isaac get lucky? It's like, no, I'm working out by myself.
You can hear a thumping. Also, Michelle's mic might have been muted. I can't tell for sure.
It doesn't matter. I just said that tracks.
Okay.
I don't like what you're insinuating.
Even though I'm the one who brought it on myself. So let's check in with Farm Group. Farm Group had established a watch order. It was Lena and then Grail and then Grail Papa. So,
yes.
Lena, keeping watch kind of precludes you from being in your trance form. Even though you are aware of some things around you, it's not nearly as sharp as you might like it to be. You'll still be able to get a full rest once your watch is concluded. But at least for this span of time, you are kind of just keeping track of things on the ranch, keeping an eye primarily in the northern direction because you know from your tracking that that was where they headed after leaving your group the previous evening. So go ahead and make a perception check.
Okie dokie. 15.
15. The
passive perception like 21. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I thought I heard talking from camera 6, but just can't be certain. For the most part, things are quiet. You hear the occasional rustling from down where the sheep are being kept because not all of them are asleep or they're moving about a little bit. What few trees are in the area kind of gently rustle in the night breeze. But for the most part, over your span of the watch, things are quiet. And as you head into the late 11 o'clock-ish type of hour, I don't know where you're keeping watch from, but Grail comes up and taps you on the shoulder.
Okay. I tell her that I didn't see or hear anything, so hopefully her watch goes as smoothly as mine did, and then I will retreat to my room.
Okay, yeah, and I just thank Lena and kind of quietly take up the position.
Okay. To save time, Grail make a perception check, Lena make a nature check.
Nature.
As you head into your trance.
14 perception.
Okay.
11.
So Grail, well, let's do Lena's first. Lena, the sense you're getting is a more exact one. You knew before this was far to the northwest, but it was difficult to tell where exactly. Here, you're getting a sense of distance, and this is difficult because you don't really know any geography outside of the immediate area around the Sowenwood, but it's giving you this sense of scale that this repeated time has kind of given you a closer experience with. It is somewhere around 400 or 500 miles to the northwest. It is a ways.
Not close. Okay, good. Good to know.
The vague sense of geography you do know is that probably puts it more west than Lycidian was since you've been there, and obviously considerably more north than that because Lycidian is almost due west from where you guys are currently across the mountain range, and there's a gap of the ocean, but still. It's a ways out there, and it also confirms it's definitely not anywhere connected to Lycidian. It's further out than that.
Okay.
Still, though, it feels as though there should be some kind of vision with it, and whether it's because you just have no clue about the area or because you're not attuned well enough to this yet because you're still relatively new, you don't have any sense of like what this location is. It's just this feeling inside that kind of tugs in that direction, And as you've honed in on it, it's given you more of a sense of how far away that tugging is from. But you still have no clue as far as like what's in the area, if there's a city, a place, a landmark. It's just this sense still.
Okay. Well, it's better than nothing, I suppose.
Gorilla, you had a 14.
Yep.
Where are you watching from?
I guess it depends on where Lena was, but I imagine I will start my watch on the porch and then go out into the kind of pasture areas near where the gate is, just because that's where we saw our last action people. So.
Okay. Walking about kind of helps ease this just general unease that you have from the events of the last couple days, and just hoping that everything's going to be okay here for your family. As you get closer to the gate where you encountered the 4 Blades members and kidnapped one of them and then eventually set him free, you do see what appears to be movement further off to the north, so small as to be almost imperceptible, but on a decent roll you catch what appears to be movement ways off, maybe half mile or more off to the north. Looks like humanoid figures, way too small to be anything more discernible than that. They're upright, they're walking,
okay.
There's multiple.
Can I tell if they're coming in this direction or retreating?
It's difficult to say because they're so small, but they're not getting noticeably bigger or smaller, so at the very least it doesn't seem like they're coming or going.
Okay, and can I tell about how many figures, or is it just kind of a blob?
It's sort of an amorphous blob of sorts that you can pick out a handful of limbs to. You would guess maybe 4 or 5.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hold my ground for a second, or maybe like a minute or so, just to see if I can figure out if this is something I need to wake my family for and alert them again, like, since they've had a lot going on the last couple days. I would rather not wake them if it's for no reason. But yeah, I want to get a better idea as to like maybe where these people are going, if they're just crossing through. The only problem being there's really nothing else out there, and so I'm guessing it probably is something to do with our ranch. But I'm gonna hold my place for like a minute or two and try and suss it out a little bit better.
Okay. As you take the time to kind of train your sights in that direction, you watch as these figures, however many they are, whatever they are, continue heading to the east a bit. So they're heading from left to right across your vision as you look to the north. And then seem to disappear. Not behind anything. There's trees and stuff scattered in that direction, but again, not that many that it precludes your vision. But they seem to vanish.
So they're going, you said, to the east?
Correct.
What's to the east exactly?
Make a history check.
Okay.
With advantage.
Okay. Come on, input value advantage. 15.
You know this area pretty well, obviously, especially the area in the immediate vicinity around the ranch. Some of the towns that are in this area are more or less known to you, but from the range that you think that those bodies were headed, there's nothing there. There's no, the towns in the area, and the group, obviously the second half of the group has been exploring them. Glen Cogo is much further north than that. I'm blanking on the other town's name because it's been so long. Where are you? I'll find you. There you are. Willowdale is much more northeast than that. There should be nothing in that immediate vicinity, especially as far as big-time establishments. It's certainly possible something small could have sprung up in the 3-4 months it's been since you left home, but to your knowledge, there is nothing noteworthy there.
Okay, I'm definitely going to stay put in this particular spot and keep a very, very sharp eye to see if they resurface.
Okay. As you keep as you keep an eye in that direction, some time passes. You're unsure if it's minutes that are eventually leaking into almost an hour or more. You do not see any more activity from the area that you last saw them in.
Okay. Anything further to the east?
No.
Okay.
Catching that kind of like snippet of movement appears to be the only activity you've seen out in that direction. And as you've essentially gone past the 2-hour point, nothing else in that direction catches your eye.
Okay. I'm still gonna. I'm gonna be vigilant. I'm gonna keep watch as keenly as I can because I'm on edge.
As you get into the early morning hours, you start to see just that hint of light across the sky. The sun is still a ways off from cresting the mountains, but the sky starts to light up a bit. You start losing the stars. Your father eventually comes out, kind of puts a hand on your shoulder after he trudges out from the house out to where you're at by the northern fence. Says, "Well, I didn't hear anything from you. I assume that's good."
I turn to him and nod, but then kind of like shake my head from side to side very slowly and just say, I saw movement up in the eastern side. I kind of point to where I saw it. Say, could have been 4 or 5 people, but they seem to be going around. I just saw them for a moment, and I've been looking ever since, but I haven't seen anything since then. It must have been hours ago by now.
And he kind of rubs the side of his face a bit. He's got early morning stubble, and still looks like he's a little bit sleep deprived, is too strong, but looks a little haggard, I suppose, given the events. And he kind of mulls it over for a second. He says, "Well, at least they didn't try to come here, but not much out that way. Makes me wonder a bit."
Yeah, me too. I wonder if it has something to do with that boy, or if they're trying to keep watch on us. I'm not sure, but fortunately, I haven't seen hair nor hide of them yet.
So he asks you to kind of just give him a general pointing, where did you last see them, so that he can keep an eye on it, and tells you to go ahead and take your leave if you're good with it, and he'll keep an eye on that spot.
I do hesitate and just kind of quietly ask, are you sure you don't want company, at least for a little bit?
He says, "No, if they're about as far out as you say, and I do see anything come in this direction, I can always come back to the house. Unless you think something's worth checking out now."
I hesitate at this as well, and I say, with who we have here, I just don't think the numbers match up. There had to have been at least 4 or 5 people. I wouldn't feel comfortable just the 2 of us, even the 3 of us with Lena going out there in the woods. I don't want to get outnumbered in a situation like that, go looking for trouble, if you know what I mean.
He nods. He says, "Well, I ain't fixing to get yelled at by your ma again, so
Probably for the best.
I suppose we'll just keep an eye on it. If anything changes, I'll come get you, but if nothing else, I can keep an eye out that direction. Obviously, on the whole ranch, but I'll let you know what I see in the morning."
All right. Give me a holler if you see anything, and I do mean anything.
"I will. And just so you know, you and Leonard are off chore duty tomorrow, so feel free to catch up on rest."
Oh, that's a relief. I feel like I've forgotten all the hard work that goes into keeping this ranch afloat. I don't know how you and Ma do it, honestly.
Well, the nice thing about it is we're used to it. Like you say, you remember how it used to be. Now you're trying to remember. Your body doesn't have muscles the same way it used to from doing certain chores. It's all something we're accustomed to, and I think we like it overall. But it's an acquired taste.
It's true. I think I've gone soft in certain areas. Harder in others, softer in some.
Just imagine like a buff-ass Grail.
I know.
Very lean.
Yeah. But yes, I'll pat his shoulder and say, I hope you have a good watch. Quiet.
And he nods, and he does have his shotgun on him, by the way. He's not just sitting out there by himself. He kind of sits up on the fence post, looking out in the direction you pointed out. Shotgun kind of draped across his lap. For his watch, that's pretty good. an above average result. So, as the morning comes, Lena, Grail, you both awaken. Again, it's kind of different for Lena, but come to your senses, whatever. Fully rested, full complement of stuff back available to you. You didn't spend a ton in that fight, but some. Having not been disturbed, your father never came in to wake you, so you assume things are fine.
Okay. What time is it by the time I get downstairs and everything? I'm guessing I sleep in a little bit late.
You do, especially because you took the middle shift, so you never really got into like that deep sleep portion.
Yeah.
Part of why you didn't have a dream check.
I was wondering.
Yeah. So you kind of, maybe because he told you were off the hook today, you sleep in a little longer than you might expect to. Otherwise, it is about 9:30 or so by the time you eventually roll out of bed. Lena, you're up a little bit before that.
I'm going to go downstairs and see if my mom's down there. Or Lena, or whoever.
And
Yeah, I'll probably be downstairs, trying to help and probably failing, but still trying.
And as you head downstairs, Grail, you kind of start overhearing the tail end of a conversation between Lena and your mother, where Millicent's basically explaining to her about how you guys are free from chores for the day because you guys have done such a good job the last couple of days. There's a lot less that needs to be done, so she's in the process of making breakfast. As she sees you come down, she says, "So, how did things go last night? I keep looking out the window, and your paw is still sitting out there on the fence, but doesn't seem like anything happened."
I kind of start at that because it's like daytime by now. And I'm like, he's still sitting out there? Should we go bring him in?
She says, "Well, I don't know why he's still out there, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt to go check."
He has died in
I
his
can
chair.
go
I know.
check on
I'm like, this is terrifying. I will I'll tell my mom that the watch was mostly quiet. I'm not gonna actually mention movement to her because nothing happened, and I don't want to stress her out. So I'm gonna just say it was quiet.
Okay.
I volunteer to go get Grail's father and bring him in. So
You head out there, and he's
Yeah.
slumped over like Nicholas D. Wolfwood, leaning on his shotgun for support,
oh
pool
god.
of blood underneath his body.
That's what it sounded like at first. I was like, what is going on?
That would be very cruel.
That'd be awful.
I'm not saying I'm averse to that,
I
but
would love it.
it might be a little early for such cruelty. Or maybe it's just the right time.
Yeah.
By the way, astute viewers have probably noticed everyone is level 6. If it was meant to bring that up in the beginning and forgot, but they have leveled up in the interim, so enjoy their new superpowers.
We're super beefy now.
Lena, as you head outside in the now very bright morning, almost no clouds in the sky, and you head out to where Rollins is to the north, he kind of hears you coming and spins around on the fence to look at you as you approach. Says, "Good morning, Lena."
And I respond and I say, "Good morning, Rollins. How's the watch? Quiet, I hope."
Well, Grail told me she saw some figures out in that direction, and he kind of gestures in the vague area where she had seen them. So I thought I would keep an eye out even after the sun had risen, just to make sure no one was headed this direction. Haven't seen anything since.
Interesting. And I'm kind of looking out there too, just for the heck of it, because I don't like that.
What do your elf eyes see?
What do my elf eyes see? Probably nothing.
You can make a perception check.
Sure. Why not? 13.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, just, trees and stuff.
You can see that there doesn't appear to be any movement in that direction. Like, you're confident enough that you're trained in that direction well enough to know that things seem quiet. And Rollins kind of looks back in that direction as well. He says, "It's a good thing I know that Grail is a smart one. Not that I doubt her, just that been here for the better part of 5 hours and haven't seen anything in that direction. If I didn't know any better, I would think she was seeing things, but I severely doubt it."
And I just kind of nod and then I ask, "Did she mention which direction they were going in?"
He says, "Well, she said they were heading to the east, but they disappeared at a certain point, and he's kind of like gesturing across the northern plain, and at a certain point where she had pointed him, he kind of stops.
Yeah.
Says she never saw them after that point, and I've been out here for a while and haven't seen nothing either.
Well, hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully what we saw was not an omen or anything for the ranch.
Well, I hope so too. I'm hoping that maybe what happened last night spooked some folks, and they thought better of trying to come back or start any more trouble today. But we'll still have to keep an eye out.
For your sake, I hope so too. Well, come on in. Breakfast should be ready soon, I think.
He nods. He says, "Yeah, that would be like Millie to have it ready." All right, we'll have to make sure we keep an eye out as we eat, but we can see from the dining room table if anybody's approaching. Can't turn down some food, especially after sitting out here by my lonesome for a while. So he heads inside. You guys enjoy a nice breakfast. I have to vamp because 1/4 of the other group is currently out of frame.
Oh, while we're having breakfast, I will ask Lena if she's had any, interesting dreams or any, if her meditation has been successful at all.
Yeah, and I just kind of laugh and say, well, not as successful as I would like. I have a sense of the direction we need to go. I believe northwest beyond Lycidian, but I don't have a clear location or any kind of visuals outside of that. So
I kind of widen my eyes a little bit and say, "Oh, that far. That's actually good to know. I wasn't sure if there was really any indication where other than the general direction, but past Lycidian, that's a distance."
Yes, that was the sense I got, is that we're not close to where I need to be next, so it'll take a bit of traveling, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what's beyond there. I don't know if any of our party does, so this is going to be interesting.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
We switch to the Glencogo group. Morning comes. You guys are in the pretty nice overall rooms at the place you're staying, which I thought I had a name for, and I can't seem to find. Moratorio, there we go. And what's nice about it is, even though the bar area itself was relatively limited and small and not that forthcoming, all these rooms were pretty comfortable, so everybody got a good night's sleep. Tessian, yours was good, but also kind of bittersweet because this is in theory the day that Thea heads her separate way.
Yeah.
But as you guys kind of come to consciousness, you have the morning ahead of you. What would you like to do?
Gosh, I'm gonna mopily go eat breakfast.
I'm ready to head back. So I've packed the wagon, and I'm kind of going out to the other people to see can we get going. We've been away for a while. Obviously, I don't know what's going on at the farm. It is actually pretty good now, but I'm I want to get back to the rest of the team just in case.
Tessian's probably doing breakfast in bed. He's probably stalling.
Great.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll make my way to the eating area first.
That is so immature, Tessian. I can't believe you would do that.
So, Karash is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And are there other people around? Probably, right? And so,
Yeah, there's a handful of what appear to be other patrons, including a couple that you recognize from the night before that are presumably staying there. Again, since the area is not that large, there's only maybe a half dozen or so other folks there. But for the most part, everybody just seems to be enjoying their breakfast and kind of matches the vibe you've had in this town so far, which is everybody seems to be decently well off and relatively happy.
well, howdy there, Karash. Yeah, good morning to you, too. So, I see you have a big plate of food there. What do you say we skedaddle on up to the wagon, you bring the food with you, and we eat while we drive?
Can I just take the plate out, or is nobody going to be bothered by that?
I don't know if they'd be the biggest fans, but, you know.
I'm just going to shove it all into my mouth, like, as much of it as I can, stand up, and then, like, force chew it like a toddler that's grumpy and doesn't want to participate.
Even better. And I leave. And now I go try to find Tessian. I would, if he's not here eating, I would guess I would probably go to his room next.
Mm-hmm.
So I knock.
I mean, yeah, he answers the door. Yes, Isaac, can I help you?
I figure it's probably a good time to head back. We've been gone for a while. If you're not predisposed, what do you say we make it an early morning back to the farm?
He kind of like looks back. He's like, just give me a little bit. I'm busy. I'll be there as soon as I can.
And then I imagine as you close the door, I put my foot in it, and I say, well, what's a little bit? Do you need like 5 minutes to get your gear together?
And Tessian's like, give me an hour, Isaac, an hour.
1 hour?
With my fiance, please.
I'm just mumbling. And
You hear a voice come from under the sheets. Says, yes, Isaac, just an hour, please, and then no further.
I remove my foot, and I'm just mumbling as I walk away. No rose and their long mornings. Don't know how hard days work. Unbelievable. So I'm going to go to the wagon. Like Karash, I'm a little petulant at this point, and I'm just like ready to go. Waiting. I think about going to the rest of the town, but it's like an hour is not like a lot of time to really do. It's like the worst amount of time. I don't have enough time to go do anything, but we can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
When you show up, Tessian?
He said he needs an hour to, I don't know, freshen up or something. What do you say we get a head start on your lessons, and then maybe we can take a break during the ride back? I agree. Let's get started.
Going to be a grumpy grump party going back here after this. Karash is sad about his family. Isaac is sad about the time it's taken. Tessian is sad about the everyone's going to be just like...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. About 10 minutes into working with Karash on the latest chapter of his learning, so he's going to be better and better at reading and then maybe pick up some other stuff too, a woman approaches you wearing the same outfit as the receptionist from last night, so it would stand to reason that she works for Moratorio. And she says, excuse me, sirs. You had asked to have us let you know if Lorene was interested in speaking with you or she came back into town. She has informed me that she is and is interested in meeting with you as well.
Okay, I don't remember this at all. I'm sorry. What is this for?
For the viewer, it's been 6 weeks. Lorene is the person who runs the city. She's the countess here.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about Dragonborn coming in and out of the city, possibly.
What did I ask? Was it something with the vault, or did I give up on the vault for now?
You gave up on the vault. That was
Okay.
kind of after you had arranged to meet her, so I don't even know if you said what your interest in meeting her was specifically.
Okay.
But you have been trying to arrange it, because the things that you learned from the receptionist were essentially that the city was well run, that they had a favorable impression of her, that she was that she was well connected. So I think that was part of why you wanted to meet her.
I'll think on my feet. Oh, wow, yes. Oh, thank you so much for coming all this way to let us know. And your, what's her, Duchess? Is she a Duchess?
Countess.
Countess, so gracious for agreeing to meet us. What do you say, Karash? Should we go take her up on her offer? We have an hour, after all.
I'm going to grumblingly get up and go with you. Also, just fun side note, I rolled a not natural 1 on learning this morning, so I think that's gonna do me some favors in the future.
That's pretty story tied. That's good.
It's because you've reached a plateau, and so now you're like resting on your laurels when you should be trying to expand your knowledge still.
Also, I'm cranky as hell.
Yes, also that.
Should we let Tessian know? Nah, you're right. Let's just go.
Wouldn't have said yes anyway.
So she gives you directions to the Countess's estate, as it were. It's in the southwest part of the city, not too far from where Moratorio is, probably like a 5-minute walk at most. Of course, it also helps that Glen Coco, not a super big city to begin with. As you guys walk up to the outside of it, there's a couple things you're seeing on the way. One is this sort of reminds you of a much scaled down Lycidian, which is to say there is a lot of bustle and people who seem to be in good moods and an eclectic blend of folks that are out and about on the streets. Obviously nowhere near as tightly congested as a place like Lycidian, but just in general, relative to its size, a lot of people out and about. Business seems to be booming here overall. When you get to the exterior of the estate, it's mostly unassuming looking on the outside. A pretty sizable place. It's multiple stories, and it has some good size to it. It's befitting of someone of their stature, but it doesn't look anything near like, say, Harnstead, where the Duchess there had, like, you know, a really elaborate, almost frivolous place where she lived with all sorts of nice things. This is a building made out of brick on the exterior. Nice brick, well constructed, but doesn't really strike you as a place that a countess would live compared to what else you've seen from people of that stature to this point.
But it doesn't look like it's like a building that's supposed to be a secret meeting place or anything. It just looks like an inauspicious building.
Essentially, yeah. It doesn't look, covert or anything of the sort. It's just a nicer, but mostly just bigger version of a lot of the other houses that surround it. It fits in with the rest of its surroundings.
I whisper to Karash, it's so humble. It's too bad Tessian didn't go with us. Maybe you could take some notes. And I nudge him.
Architecture?
Yes, on architecture, Karash. That's exactly right.
Also, I apparently know the word architecture.
Yes. It's one of your side pet projects. Yeah. Not peeves.
I imagine Karash with little glasses and business suit, drawing.
And when he gets frustrated, the glasses get broken every time.
He finds a flat surface and unrolls a scroll, and it's just like floor plans.
Yeah.